What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Real Ones Canes podcast. I am Brian the Beast London. He is not Brandon O'Doy. He is not. He is Cam Underwood from State of the U. Now, Brandon is all up in the business of the Florida State High School Football Championships. He's down at FIU. He's working things. He's out there. He's talking to players and coaches. So he didn't have time for this little Peeny Weeny podcast. He's doing his thing. And Cam really doesn't have time for me either, but he carved time out so that we could discuss the orange and green. Cam, throw out your social media handles and where they can follow you and find your stuff.
Yeah, man, always good to be here. Thanks for having me back. Managing editor of stateoftheu.com is where you can find us. On socials, we're The State of the U, and my personal Twitter account is @Underwood Sports, where I talk about sports and all kinds of other things. So, yeah, just come on over and fan with us, and hopefully you enjoy the conversation. And look, we're back with the Bald Bros today. So, Brandon got all that hair and everything. Nah. Go down to, Pitbull Stadium, deal with that. The Naplin Naps, go down there. Bald Bros on the mic today. Let's go.
That could be a whole separate podcast, the Bald Bros. I don't know. We could take that somewhere.
Absolutely.
All right. So, Cam, I haven't had a chance to speak with you other than a few texts back and forth after the season ended with that in Syracuse. And so I throw out to you this question. 10-2, happy, not happy? How should we feel?
Not happy. This was, everybody saw it from the moment that we brought in Cam Ward. Chips to the center. Like, we put blind, before the flop, I didn't even look at my cards. I looked at one card, the number one, the ace that we had.
Yeah.
All into the middle, man. This was that season, and that was the goal, dream, and desire. And I wrote it on the website, and I've said it on umpteen podcasts and places that I've been to you in person and others. If you fall short of the ACC championship game, it's a failure to me, because the standard at Miami is championships. And the first step along that path is an ACC championship and then college football playoff, and whatever happens. You didn't even play for an ACC championship. That has to be a failure. Now, you're going to look back and think, or even not even looking back, right now, Miami has a chance to win 11 games for the first time since 2003 if we win the bowl game, for which Cam Ward is staying and playing and all kinds of things like that. That is an uncontrovertible step forward from 7-5 with the Georgia Tech shenanigans from last year and 5-7 the first year. It is a step forward. And I think when you remove yourself from the season a little bit more in terms of time, there can maybe be some more, warm feelings and things like that. But this team was constructed to compete for championships, and you competed for 0 championships. That's a disappointment to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's going to be one of those things where 20 years from now, we're going to look down the year-by-year records, which I always do, and you're going to be like, oh, man, that 2024 team, man, look at that. Look at those 10 wins. That was a great team. Cam Ward, all this stuff. And you're not going to really think about the specifics that we went through this season, right? The Georgia Tech loss, the Syracuse loss, and not getting to the conference championship, which I, too, believed had to be the thing that you had to do, is get to the conference championship game. And I felt pretty good that if we got there, this year would be the year with Cam Ward and this offense that we would win it. That did not happen. Obviously, Clemson upsetting SMU, which is a weird thing to say, Clemson upsetting SMU. After that, I was even more upset because I'm like, wait, I was worried about this Rhett Lashley offense carving Miami's suspect defense, but you know what? Maybe Miami could have won that game. And wait, if they won the ACC championship, oh, wow, look what they could have done if they kept going. And none of that's going to happen. Instead, we have Iowa State in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, which, foolishly, I thought we were going to be in the playoffs, so I made plans that night. But
it is. The end of the season leaves a sour taste in your mouth. And I hate that I was right about this. But after we lost to Georgia Tech, I immediately said, and we had our second bye week then, immediately after. So you had to sit on that for 2 full weeks. And I said, at that time, Miami is now in single elimination playoffs, which is what the bracket is. But if you lose one of these games in the regular season, they're going to exclude you. They're going to, and that's going to be it. And that's what came to pass. I know that like Clemson stole that bid. It's another full conversation. I'm not going to really dive into it. It is asinine to try to say that this year's Alabama would have been in over this year's Miami. I'm not going any further than that. It is straight foolishness. And anyone who believes that, you have an agenda other than, common sense and good thought. But you found a way to lose one of those games. And like I had people hitting me up, texting my phone, calling my phone, going to the games, I do a couple other podcasts, things like that, always in the mentions. Oh my God, Cam did it. I was like, look, I didn't create this system, but I tried to tell you, if you lose another game, that's going to be it. And unfortunately, that loss at Syracuse, up 21-0 in the second quarter.
Yeah, I can't. You're going to trigger me. I'm going to have to, I'll be in the corner crying with my thumb in my mouth if you keep, if you keep talking about it. I agree with you on the Alabama sentiments. I don't want to relitigate that whole thing because I'll get angry. And we'll talk about the playoff on the other side, just in terms of how you seen it playing it out with these teams that are in it. Mm-hmm. The other thing I wanted to talk about here is Cam Ward, who we were literally blessed to watch play football for this season, blessed to have around, blessed to cover. Like, listen, I didn't get down to campus a lot to what have you, not that I could gain anything from doing that, but just the few, just the Zoom calls that I got to ask him a question or two, or post-game press conferences that I got to ask him a question or two, just really great interactions. I really loved his entire kind of makeup and moxie and all of that the entire year. We're recording this on Friday afternoon on the 13th. The Heisman is coming up yet. I don't want to sit here and tell you that he's definitely not going to win the Heisman, but it's Travis Hunter's award to lose. I'm happy he's going to New York and is being recognized. I'm happy he got the Davey O'Brien Award. Can you just paint the picture of how lucky we have been this year to have number one throwing the rock for the Miami Hurricanes?
I mean, all you need to do is look at pretty much any other season since Ken Dorsey, man. There's been precious few years that Miami has had like very good quarterbacking. I'm not going to say like elite, but very good quarterbacking. Like, this man came in and rewrote the entire record book in a single season. So like when you're mentioning Gino Toretto, when you're mentioning Vinny Testaverde as the, previous Davey O'Brien Award winners for Miami, previous Heisman Trophy winners for Miami, record holders for yards and touchdowns in the season, along with Steve Ball, all these things, we saw a better player I know that football has changed and, over the course of time and things like that. So the monster that Vinny Testaverde was, like, do the things that Cam Ward has done? Sure, maybe. But like in this iteration of what football looks like and over the history of time, you probably watched the best quarterback that Miami's ever had. This is incredible. So you always have to do this when you start comparing from era to era and decades, right? Like the build of quarterbacks nowadays, it's different than the Jim Kellys and the Vinny Testaverdes and the Bernie Kosars of the world. Just like different, we're talking apples and oranges, right? Like same position, but not even in the same league, right? So, but I would agree with you that since Vinny, this is by far the best quarterback because we're actually talking about him being able to have a pro career going on from here, taking his talents to the next level. You had did Steve Walsh and Craig Erickson go to the NFL? Sure. But they were basically backups. They didn't really have much of a career. Gino had a cup of coffee with the Minnesota Vikings. Definitely he was more of a college quarterback. Everyone, Frank Costa, Ryan Kelly, like none of these guys, Clement Covington, Kenny Kelly, Dorsey, he was around for a while. Canadian Football League is where he got most of his playing time. But
we have not been able to say, hey, this guy's a legitimate next level NFL quarterback in literally 35 years.
Right. And that's what he brought. And if you remember this time last year, people were thinking, okay, Cam Ward is a borderline day 2, day 3 guy. So that's 3rd, 4th, 5th round.
Right. I think he got didn't he get a 5th round grade before
he came back?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, somewhere in, and like with quarterback especially, you could move up a little bit because they, like a Bo Nix gets drafted in the 1st round. Now, he's playing well in the league, but nobody thought he was going to be a 1st rounder.
Correct.
So it's a singular position. You can be drafted a little bit higher than your grade, maybe. So he came back, and now we're not talking like top 5 rounds. We're talking top 3 picks overall for Cam Ward. So this also goes to help the reputation that Mario has, that people say as a quarterback killer. Justin Herbert, Cameron Ward, like this is like the things that we saw him do. And I've been watching him since he was at Incarnate Word. I have a good friend of mine. His first year at Incarnate Word, he was like, yo, my name is Cam, his name is Cam. So everybody always talks to me about anybody named Cam, right? So they're like, Cam, there's this kid named Cam at Incarnate Word. You need to go watch. And I was like, I'm gonna go. Like, it's a friend of mine. So I did him the courtesy of looking at the film, and I said, oh my God, what? So I've been knowing about him for a long time. When he had, and I said it at the time that this was going to be on his Heisman Trophy reel, and I guarantee you it is, that throw at Florida. You know the one I'm talking about. Going to his left, floating, puts that foot in the ground, flips those hips, and drives it 30 yards to the back of the end zone to Jacoby George.
Yep.
He made that throw, and I said, oh boy.
I think I X'd it at the time, which was, that's an NFL throw. That was my comment on that throw, is that is an NFL throw. Because I mean, like, wait, I've seen that on Sundays from the best of the best.
That kind of a thing, not just like a random 3rd and 8 conversion for 12 yards, which are great. And we need those, especially, I'm not going to go back through the season, but you know what I mean? Like, you need those plays as well. But then he's making highlight plays look easy. I mean, just rewriting the record book. I mean, just easy as you're like, okay, cool. Oh, you're blitzing everybody. I'm going to wait. Hit Cam McCormick, another Cam people talk to me about, the 9th-year senior, for the first touchdown of the year at Florida. Okay, you're going to, blitz me and everything. Sidestep. Okay, we're going to hit that check down. We're going to do this. Like, it was such high-level quarterbacking. Now, he was infuriating at times because he still wants every play to be that highlight. And that was the thing that was a little unsettling, because I love those. But if it's not there, take the check down. Live to fight another day, because every snap that you take, the opportunity for a touchdown exists. So I want more snaps, which gives me more chances, and things. So like I'm not going to call him perfect, because he was not. There were things that, and no one is, and no performance is, but this is the best quarterback that we've seen in my like sentient sports fan lifetime for the Miami Hurricanes. And I mean, definitely, I was in school during the Dorsey days and everything. He's the best quarterback I've seen since I've become a Miami Hurricane by enrolling at the University of Miami. Full stop. And yeah, it's really incredible. First team All-American, Walter Camp football, the American Football Coaches Association, David O'Brien Award winner, ACC overall player of the year, offensive player of the year as well. The first Miami Hurricane ever to win those awards, rewriting record books for touchdowns responsible for in a season, passes, or passing yards, passing touchdowns. I mean, the man caught a touchdown. He ran for 5 also. He did everything but direct the band and pass out hot dogs. I mean, he was absolutely incredible, and you should enjoy it. I mean, and the fact that we get to watch this again in the bowl game, because I immediately, when we were not put in the playoffs, said, cool, that's the last time we're going to see Cam Ward. He said, no, I want to go win another game with y'all boys. Oh my goodness, that's incredible.
Listen, I love that he's doing it. I don't know if it's the smart thing for his future, but
that's what I said. Exactly. But I'll take it.
But those of us that were at that game where Greg Cooper, ruined his, I have bad thoughts in my head, but hey, it's a different playing surface now. So everything is fine.
It should be.
Yeah. The thing is this, right? Miami, and everyone's been saying it, Miami wastes the Cam Ward opportunity.
Yep.
Because like we're talking about, this is a once in a generation quarterback. There's nothing in the portal. There's nothing behind him. There's nothing anywhere that resembles Cam Ward, right?
At all.
But now we have to think about, we're going to continue. We're going to watch this Pop-Tarts Bowl and have fun and yay, all of that stuff. By the way, my waistline is probably really beneficial that I'm not going to the game in Orlando because I would hit so many Pop-Tarts. But we got to look at next year and the makeup of this team. There's been a bunch of guys that have entered the portal, and I'll be honest with you, and I don't want to like shame anyone or put anyone down, but there's nothing on this list. Washington and Miles Muyong and Robert Stafford and AJ Allen, Christopher Johnson, Antonio Tripp, Reese, Poffenberg. There's nothing there where I'm like, oh damn, I can't believe we lost that guy. Like we're worse off now. There's a couple of those guys I would love to have, sure, fine, but nothing is like making me completely upset. Like I think there have been in the past. There's been some guys that have left, and I'm like, damn, like we're gonna miss that guy or that guy. And then you look at what might come in and what positions we need at, and there's like, yeah, I need some guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you in terms of the outgoing players. The ones that stick out to me in order are Chris Johnson, then AJ Allen, just because, especially of Chris Johnson's speed. And, we've seen like Louis Riddick on ESPN is like, hey, go somewhere else. Somebody's going to use him right. And I'm like, dude, the thing about it is we had the number one offense in America. Where are you getting snaps from? Now, the only thing that I could reasonably think is if Mario and company said to Jordan Lyle, hey, your future here is bright, but it's going to be in the future, and then allocate those snaps to Chris Johnson Jr. But that also goes counterintuitive to the ethos of best player plays, because Jordan Lyle clearly usurped that spot.
Yeah, really good.
And very incredibly good. So that's the only spot that I see where you really could take more snaps. We had the number one offense in America. This is not like we were some moribund team that couldn't score points, and you have this Ferrari sitting on the sideline. Would I have liked to have kept him and found ways to get him even more touches? Yeah, but that is a different multiverse, So it's unfortunate that like the circumstances worked out that way, but it's not. None of the departures have eroded the foundation of this program.
Right.
So there's that. In terms of the portal, I need a quarterback for numbers, if nothing else. And if you want to bring in somebody to compete with Emory for the job, I told you this in person in the game, you and Brandon, because we all sit in the same row of the press box. It has long been my belief that Miami wants Emory to be the quarterback next year for a variety of reasons, whether you're talking about financial, whether you're talking about continuity, whether you're talking about proof of concept for development. All these different kind of things. We don't always have to go get a transfer quarterback. It's not De'Aaron King one year and then somebody else another year and then Cam Ward another year and then Reese Poffenbarger. We recruited this guy, homegrown, developed. He's the guy who's going to play. I'm not expecting anything near what we got from Cam Ward because we've never seen anything like what we got from Cam Ward, but I've long held that Miami wants it to be him. Bring in somebody to compete then, whether that's whomever in the portal. But my thing is really, if we don't spend bags and bags and bags of money in the secondary, what are we doing?
Yeah, no, we're worse off. I mean, listen, we spent a ton of money on the offense and it worked. Sure and now it's time to kind of reload the other side of the ball because that evidently needs to be fixed. We won't have to. I can't get into it. But I do want to ask you this question though, because it might get like if they bring in, let's say it's Fernando Mendoza, the kid from Cal. He went to Columbus. His dad played football with Mario. Blah. Let's just say it's that guy. I don't know. That seems to be possibly a layup, but there's other guys out there, and who knows how the chips fall. Guys have already committed elsewhere, and to other programs. But now, what kind of what kind of inner politics are you creating if you bring in a guy that was a starter for another team in the conference that you saw up close and personal, and had he not gotten his head bashed in on a play that was definitely not targeting, who knows what would have happened in that game. I'm just wondering how that all goes down inside the confines.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, and to me, like, there's a long list of quarterbacks that I would look at before I get all the way down to Mendoza. The thing that,
agree,
like, like Josh Newberg, who's at 247 Sports now, like, he said, "Oh, I thought that would be a great fit," and I responded to him on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and I said, "Hey, other than the fact that he's from South Florida and played at Columbus, and his dad played football with Mario Cristobal at Columbus back in the day, what other than that, like, what do you see that makes this a good fit? Like, on the field, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
If he was Bob Brackett from Missouri, why would he be a fit if you strip away the fact that he's from here and his dad played with Mario?" I said, "Well, I just thought that it would be, he was a good athlete." And I'm like, he's a solid athlete. He has an okay arm. He managed their offense well and made plays at times. But yeah, like Malik Murphy, Caden Salter, Jackson Arnold.
Oh, by the way, I threw the Malik Murphy thing out there on X, and you probably saw that I got absolutely pummeled by hundreds and hundreds of people. Which, by the way, as an aside, now I realize how to get the engagement up is just say something stupid, and the people will just at you all day.
Right.
The kid from Washington State, another Washington State product. Yeah, he's might be the best of the bunch, but evidently he's going to Oklahoma. So,
following his offensive coordinator,
right,
who left and did the same thing, but he would be on the list. And I'm not saying that I would necessarily take each and every one of them, but I'm kicking the tires and bringing them in for visits and doing the evaluative process on all of those guys and another couple that I didn't even get to list before I get to Fernando Mendoza and say, well, fine, let's kick the tires on this local kid who's just a guy and everything. Like, if you're going to bring somebody else in, I believe he has to at least have the potential to be able to start over Emory. I don't necessarily see that from Fernando. Me, myself, personally.
I can also, I had some discussions when I was out. This is another wrinkle, right? As we talk about the new world of college football and, basically working with the salary cap, as we talk about, hey, needing to spend money on the defensive side of the football, one of the issues that was a little bit shaky for Mendoza at Cal was an NIL situation. So the interesting thing would be is if he's coming here and he knows Miami spends an NIL, like, what is he asking for to basically compete for a job? Right. And now you have to manage your finances. You have to, you got to set a budget and figure out how you're gonna handle that.
Yeah, you do. And I mean, Miami does spend in the portal for the kind of talent that they need to spend that kind of money for. And I could definitely see him potentially, well, I'm clearly making things up as we go along, and well, not making it up as we go along, but just adding into the conversation. If he were to ask for like even half of what Cam Ward got, the answer is a firm absolute no. I almost with some alliteration that would have been vulgar, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like that, like, no, like, you're not him, and like that's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? Like, McDonald's doesn't charge Ruth Chris prices, and there's a reason for that. It's quality. So
correct.
He could, if he lands here and everything. Look, you and I are both Miami alums. We're going to support everyone who's on this roster. I want this team to be successful and win at every point possible. I'm just not necessarily going to say, I'm not going to be as excited about Fernando Mendoza as I would be any of these other players, and definitely not as excited as I was of even a De'Aaron King, let alone a Cam Ward.
If the goal is to have Emory start anyways, then your expectations don't have to be as high as to who comes in, because you're really just looking for someone to help you with numbers wise. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to take a break, Cam. On the other side, I want to get to two things. One, just how you see this playoff playing out with these 12 teams. And we have to, I can't even comprehend that I'm about to say this, but we have to talk about Bill Belichick at North Carolina and how this changes the landscape of not only the ACC but college football, because wow, I don't even know how that happened. We'll be back after this. You're listening and watching the Real Ones Canes podcast. Welcome back to the Real Ones Canes podcast. I am Brian London. He is Cam Underwood. He is not Brandon O'Doy. And, listen, Brandon is down at covering all the Florida high school football championship games. And we have Cam, which we might be better off because Cam is a fellow alum. And I know we both bleed orange and green, whereas Brandon went to Northwestern and he's all hotty-toddy with his J school situation. But that's neither here nor there. Cam, we have to get into the college football playoff. Some really intriguing matchups that I'm looking forward to. How do you what game are you looking forward to in this first round, and how do you see this thing panning out?
Yeah, definitely interesting matchups. I think that they did a good job with creating matchups in the first round. I don't necessarily agree with SMU 11, Clemson 12, but whatever. They're both in and they should be. So I'm going to be, just thankful for that. I'm really looking forward to, well, I don't know how it's laid out on your bracket, but the one that I'm looking at on the NCAA.com website, I'm looking forward to the top two games, as in on the top of the list. Number 10, Indiana, and number 7, Notre Dame.
Yeah.
In-state
game, yeah.
Game. And I'm not going to call it necessarily a rivalry because, they don't play even that often.
Right.
But, they definitely don't like each other. And in terms of football, Indiana's always been little brother. And Notre Dame is Notre Dame. They're the National Catholic University of the United States. You know what I mean? The Golden Domers, all of that. That game I'm looking forward to. And then let's go Vols. Just a quick Cam lore for those listening. I'm a native Detroiter, grew up as a Michigan fan. I've been to the Big House a million times, and I went to Miami. Who do you think I hate the most in the world? The school in the state south of Michigan, the Acorns in scarlet and gray. Michigan and Ohio are the Hatfields and McCoys. We fought a war over the Toledo corridor. People have literally died for this rivalry. So the 3 teams I root for every week, in order: Miami, Michigan, and whoever's playing Ohio State. Let's go Tennessee. I can't wait. And ooh, baby, if they lose at home again, I'm excited thinking about it.
So you're planting your flag with Tennessee? Is that what you're doing?
Are god darn right I am. Arrest me if you want to.
I'm really looking forward to that game. That game is like a Clash of the Titans situation. I'm also looking to see if Clemson can be for real or not against Texas. I tend to believe they're not going to be for real. And then I'm looking forward to be honest with you, whoever ends up playing Oregon, that second round game between Oregon and either Tennessee or Ohio State, because I don't know who else is going to knock off Oregon. We'll definitely have to see. And the Arizona State storyline is also pretty intriguing to me as well. And Boise State, listen, that kid can run. He's amazing, but now it's time to put on your big boy pants in the playoff. So we'll see if he still has that same ability in the playoff.
Of those two, just really quickly, between Boise and Arizona State, who do you think has a better chance of advancing to the semis?
Well, it depends on the matchup, because I think if Penn State beats SMU, Penn State is going to be physical enough to somewhat try to stop Genty up front. I don't know that SMU will be able to. As far as Arizona State goes, I think they would plow Clemson. I'm not so sure about Texas. Listen. If I'm going to be just honest with you, I'm rooting for either SMU or Boise State to win it all, because it's I just want screw everybody. That's basically where I'm at.
Okay, you're zagging where everybody else digs. I love it.
Yeah, it'd be great. It would and especially if it's not someone from the SEC, I'm even more happy.
Absolutely.
Just saying. All right, let's talk. I can't believe I'm bringing this up. I can't believe this happened. I don't even understand how a 73-year-old Bill Belichick is deciding to now go back to college, pull a Rodney Dangerfield, go back to school, and coach at North Carolina. And at my first inclination, Cam, when I saw this, was like, oh, he's not going to have success. This dude, how's he going to recruit? He's not going to grind on the trail to recruit. Like the portal, like as my Patriots head coach, he was terrible at talent evaluation. Like the one thing that he X's and O's, I'll take Bill anytime. But talent evaluation, he couldn't draft and he couldn't pick up free agents. Like, no. He got Randy Moss, but my dog could figure out how to get Randy Moss, right? Like right. You don't miss on that one. So it's like talent evaluation is huge in college football. How's he going to do it? But then I started thinking about, wait a minute. There's almost no one better when it comes to getting the most out of your players and being able to kind of put guys in different roles than maybe you think they're going to be in, right? And then the other thing is they're giving him a $20 million budget to work with to set up an infrastructure. And I'm like, wait a minute. Now he can start, like he's bringing in guys from his NFL background, his NFL past that have done it on the next level. And I'm like, oh. And then I thought to myself, my third thought was, so in 2 years, I'm going to look at Bill Belichick coaching against Mario Cristobal. That's something that's going to happen. And probably. I got really scared.
It's crazy to me that we're seeing him take this job in general. North Carolina is, regardless of what any of the other schools in the triangle want to say, they're the flagship institution there. They have always recruited, pretty well. So I think that you're going to be able to get talent because of the logo, because it is Chapel Hill, and then you add in Belichick and, his son who it was said that the son is going to be the coach in waiting. That was part of the whole process to get him to take this job and everything. But to me, I think it's going to be a mixed bag. I think they're going to find some success because he is an incredible coach, specifically defensively, and that is going to be the thing that I think they're going to hang their hat on. Is like, we're not going to just let teams score 50 points on us or whatever. So I think there's going to be a measure of success there. I do think with the budget they're going to need that, because I know that the world of recruiting is changing, but I still don't see necessarily Bill being a great, insomniac recruiter. But I think that they're going to have success there. I think that they're going to, be fine. I don't expect a championship or anything from them, which probably means that they're going to make a run to one. But yeah, I've never seen anything like this. I haven't seen, when he was living, it would have been crazy for Chuck Daly, who was the coach of my bad boy Pistons, and then the dream team, that Chuck Daly, legendary coach, leave the Pistons and be like, yo, Kent State basketball, what up with it? Or University of Detroit Mercy, or whomever, I seeing something in reverse like that in terms of level movement is the craziest part.
Phil Jackson leaving the Bulls and going to Northwestern to coach hoops, or Jim Larinaga, who knows? But can Spo coach at the U? Or
I mean, his kid's got to be getting towards middle school age, so we're only a couple of years away from him getting recruited. So
yeah, we can't talk basketball. That'll trigger me also. The women's team is really good, so that's good. Exactly. All right, Cam. So we'll have the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Yep. We will see Cam Ward one last time. We'll see Damian Martinez. I think it's one last time. And we'll see this offense one last time. And hopefully we'll go out and get 11 wins. And it'll be the season that coulda, woulda, shoulda, but at least it'll have 11 wins.
That's the hope and goal. So, you and I and everybody else on Saturday the 28th will be tuned in for that. And yeah, again, and I was pushing this on the website, pushing this on the other shows that I do. all season and said, look, you guys got to come out to the stadium because this is the last home game or the next to last home. They're only going to have a couple opportunities to watch and enjoy and support this iteration of the team with the best quarterback that we've seen in my literal lifetime. But yeah, that is what is at stake on the 28th. Hopefully we're able to close that out, get that 11th win, and move forward into the rest of the transfer portal season and move towards 2025. But I'm looking forward to that, and I'm going to enjoy the last the season finale of this great television show that you and I have been watching.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right. If I don't talk to you, buddy, have an amazing holiday season. Hopefully you get some time off. Hopefully you get to visit with some family. Hopefully you get all that stuff. I will do the same. And we hope that Brandon is surviving down at Pitbull Stadium, sticking his mic in a bunch of players' faces, getting all of the high school kids to show off their stuff. So we hope for that as well. To all of you out there, we appreciate you watching and listening. Go find Cam's stuff, thestateoftheu.com. Just the best of the best when it comes to Miami Hurricanes coverage. So go do that. We'll see you next time. You've been listening and watching the Real Ones Games podcast. Peace.